and welcome to the Meaningful Marketer podcast. I'm Mia and this is Grace, and we have cozy marketing chats every week to talk about how we can make marketing more meaningful and effective and bring it back to what it really should all be about, which is connection with people, connection with ourselves so we can connect better with other people too. And today we're going to be talking about how you can connect more with people through things like the hooks that you put on your reels. We're going to talk a little bit about email subjects even as well and how this can apply to that. Because the topic that we're discussing today is not just a viral worthy hook formula for reels. It is basic psychology of copywriting. And it's something that gets overlooked so much. And I think it's because we go and we find these reels, we find these carousels that do well, and we use them as inspiration. But then we get stuck and we struggle when it comes to how do I take this idea and how do I put my own magic into it? How do I make it relate to my people?
Right.
And so then what we find is we have this really great idea, but it ends up falling flat because we don't know how to use that idea to connect with our people.
Yes.
And this is something we're learning more and more every day too. I feel like the connection part, finding ways to connect with people, you can overcomplicate it. I don't think it's difficult. I think we overcomplicate it and we
True.
make it difficult. And so today we're bringing it back to the simplest form, and it's going to be a simple formula you can use every time you create a hook. Now, I want to say it is not all about going viral. Viral is not a strategy. Viral is something that we have in the title that I'm going to use as an example for why this works, why what we're talking about works. So if you're watching this right now, it is because you saw viral worthy reels hook formula. You know those words. That is familiar to you. Now, I can say something about maybe connection and hooks that might not appeal to you as much because you see all the time viral, viral. So you know viral equals this is going to make my content do better. And that is why that is a common ground, is what we're going to call these, some an icebreaker word, a common ground word, reels, viral, because those are words that you're familiar with. Those are words that you look at and you know automatically what they mean without me having to explain what they mean to you. So then that connects us right then and there. And that is what we're going to be talking about today. So I want to state though, before we dive in, this is not about going viral. We are not about giving you quick little hacks to go viral and all of that kind of stuff that all the gurus on Instagram will say, this is the only way to go viral. This is the way to do it overnight. It's not about that. This is about how to connect deeper with your people. This is going to be kind of like learning a little bit of a new language. And I think a lot of the time when we get into marketing our business, we don't look at it as a skill that we're building. But this is a skill, and skills take time to build, but they can be built, and it doesn't have to be complicated. But we come into it thinking we don't have to practice. Hooks are something you have to practice. Sales copy is something you have to practice.
Yeah.
It's something that Grace and I have done for years, and we are still learning and practicing every day to get better at it.
Yeah.
And I think when we can reframe it to we're learning how to get better at connecting with our people through written words. I think that makes it feel a lot less daunting than I'm trying to learn how to sell to people through writing these words. And so today we're going to give you a simple couple steps that you can take to be able to do this and kind of audit yourself when you are going through and coming up with hooks. This is not going to promise you're going to go viral overnight because that is not the strategy. Viral does not fix your problems. A lot of the time, it creates new ones.
Creates them. That's a great point.
That. And people who go viral, a lot of the time, it looks hunky-dory. We talk to people all the time who are like, oh my gosh, I went viral and, I got 2 million, 3 million views on my video. And then we'll be so excited for them. And they're like, oh my gosh, it was horrible. So it's just
The trolls
not,
will come.
Yes, it is just not the fix-all that everyone thinks it is. We can connect with people and a post not go viral. We just want that consistent connection. So this is what this is going to help you get more of, hopefully, as you practice it and get better at connecting with your people. We are going to name off this little checklist you can do, and then we are going to go through each of them and keep it simple, easy for you that you can just go through and check these off as you go each time you are writing a hook or anything else really that you're writing. You need an icebreaker. So I want you to ask yourself, does this have an icebreaker? A couple other words that maybe could fit well here is common ground. What things in common do you have? What word would these people recognize? This needs to be something you can just come together on. It doesn't need explanation. You hear the word and you both know what it means. I think a lot about we work with authors. And so I think a lot about people in the book world and they know what certain tropes mean. And,
Yeah.
I didn't even know what a trope was until we started working with an author. If you don't know, go look it up. But, anyways, and so authors can say these tropes and readers automatically know. And that is something that they can connect on. And
Yep.
so little things like that help with that. But you need an icebreaker. You need something you can connect on. We'll go more into that here in just a second. You need to bring your story into this. You need to make this personal.
Yes.
So are you using words like I, me, this is what I did, things like that. The other thing is skill. You need to show what kind of authority do you have in this. You see all those influencers or all those social media gurus who are like, you don't need to post more tips. You need to show your authority. And
Right.
that's all they're talking about is all they're saying is you need to show people I have experience in this and I know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
That doesn't mean you need to tell people you have a degree or that you're not qualified if you don't have that. What makes you knowledgeable in this and is going to keep people around to keep listening, it can simply be that you have just been through an experience that touches on this. So you have this much more experience than the person who is reading it. Or the person who is reading it has just as much experience and they're like, ooh, I relate to that. Yes, like I know exactly what you're talking about. So now to go into each of these just a little deeper, we're going to go back to our icebreaker real quick. So again, this is like what you have in common. So think about whenever you are going to meet someone in person. So when me and Grace, for instance, when we first became friends, like going back to that, I remember like one of the things we bonded over, one of the first things was I didn't really know, I don't know anything about Grace, but I had some peanut butter cups and I was
I
like,
remember.
hey, do you like peanut butter cups? And Grace was like, I love peanut butter cups. And I was like, have you ever tried the Justin's peanut butter
Boom.
cups? And, then we started talking from there. And so I'm not saying you need to go talk to your audience and ask them if they like peanut butter cups.
But
But what I
maybe.
am saying is that is how we figure out, though, what people like. And you
Right.
have to try it and put things out there. A lot of the time we can start with what are things that mean a lot to us and we like. I loved these peanut butter cups. My 20 pounds that I gained over COVID was probably from these peanut butter cups. They're the Justin's dark chocolate ones. Y'all don't eat
So
them.
good.
Anyways, so that was something I threw out there. It ended up, oh, she likes that too. And then that became something even silly, but that we were able to talk through and go, oh, have you tried this? And it led the conversation further. And so that is a lot of the time when we're doing these icebreakers, that part of our hook.
Mhm.
We are just throwing things out there that we like, that we think we might have in common with someone. And we're like, hey, do you like this too? But it needs to be something they can recognize. If I would have just came out, and said a brand name to Grace that maybe wasn't a really popular brand name,
Sure.
she may have not known it. But a peanut butter cup, we all know what a peanut butter cup is because of Reese's, right? Like you need to find those words that are like common. So for instance, people like everyone knows what Amazon is. Most people maybe know what Walmart is. Big name brands, big celebrity
Yeah.
names, things going around, those can be things that are an icebreaker, that are a common
Mhm.
ground. An inside joke, tropes for books, all of those things can be icebreakers that when someone sees it, they know
I know
automatically
what you
what it
mean.
is as soon as they see it, and that can help stop the scroll if they connect to it. You can also look at it as something someone even identifies as.
Mhm.
So, like Taylor Swift is a big thing. You have people who are like, I am a Swiftie, and that is like part of their identity is that they are a
Yeah.
Swiftie. So, like when Taylor Swift has something coming out, if your community loves Taylor Swift, yeah, like
Easy money.
lean into that, relate
Yeah.
to them with that. And that is why when people ask about trends, do I have to jump on all the trends? No, trends are an icebreaker.
Right.
Trends are a way to relate and have that icebreaker part of your hook. And it's just that a large group of people are doing the same thing at one time. That doesn't mean you have to hop on it. If it's
Right.
something that relates to you and feels genuine to you and it will relate to your community, hop on it, do it.
Yeah.
But you do not have to go around and chase trends. It can be a lot more timeless than this. And
For
we're
sure.
going to give you a hook example after I go through these. For the story portion, again, you're just asking, am I using words like I, me, my personal experience? This can be very powerful.
Yes.
Even if you're a large company, you'll see a lot of large companies are adapting these things as well now, rather than just making it feel like they're a big entity. They're making
Yeah.
it feel more personal because that is what's working. That is why ambassadors and creators are so effective for larger companies because they make it feel more personal when there's
Yeah.
this large group of maybe thousands of people running this business.
For sure.
The other thing is skill. And so again, this could be that you're really into fashion, so you play with fashion a lot, like, or you own a fashion brand, so you know a thing or two about fashion. You don't have to have a
Right.
degree in it. It could be that you bake on the weekends and you're
Yep.
sharing recipes. It could be that you are an author and you've wrote a couple books or you've wrote a book. You have experience there. No matter how large or small the experience is, you want to showcase somehow in that I have experience doing this. I've been there. I've done that. And this kind of ties into the story portion as well. I think those kind of go hand in hand. So you're really sharing from a personal experience. But in my head, this is like, you've hooked me in with like the relatable icebreaker. This feels organic and personal and real to you. It doesn't feel like something you've generated through AI. And then the skill part is like, they've done this, they must know what they're talking about. Like, I'm going to listen to what they have to say because I bet this could help me with this. But
Mhm.
you start to trust the experiences they have because you've built that connection. It
Yep.
feels genuine. They're being genuine. And then you can see that they have a skill in an area.
Yes.
Even if, again, it's maybe not that you have a degree in it, but you just have experience in that area. And so if you can go through and ask yourself those three things when you are making a hook, an email subject, or a caption. Where is my icebreaker? Am I being personal? Am I sharing from my personal experiences and being authentic? And am I showcasing why I'm talking about this? What gives me the authority to talk
To
about this?
speak about
And I
this.
think the authority part of this too is why it's so important to prioritize your mental health and make sure that you are confident and secure in your magic and your gifts and that you respect yourself there, because it's going to be very difficult to put yourself out there and ask other people to listen to you. And it's going to trip you up here if you don't have that respect for yourself and
Mm.
haven't connected with yourself in that way, I think.
Very
Because
true.
then you're going to instead slip into the imposter syndrome side of yourself. I know
Right.
because I do this. And you're going to go, oh, well, I don't really have that much experience in it, or I don't have a degree in it, or, I don't have this. And you're going to start second guessing yourself.
Yeah.
And so it's so important in these steps to also connect with yourself too, like so many of our episodes talk about. So you can then be confident in the magic that you have to offer, and you can put this stuff out there and really effectively connect with other people
Yep.
and not have fear of that. So a quick example, and then we're going to go over as a little bonus a couple ways that you can also apply this to your email subjects as well, because
Yes.
that's a big one that trips people up. Okay, so a quick example real quick. This is a carousel. Again, these can be a carousel or a reel. This can also, the same stuff can be used in captions, email subjects, anywhere else on your website. These same principles. And so this one says, I buy a lot from Amazon, but these are the ones I'd actually buy again. So
Yes.
you've got your icebreaker word, Amazon here. You've got your personal, authentic words there. And then you also have, I buy a lot from it. Like, I buy a lot of things. I know what I'm talking
That's
about
good.
here. And so it's not always, I'm going to acknowledge, is it always as simple of a hook like this? No, because it's going to depend on your industry.
Sure.
It's going
Sure.
to depend on all that. So you might have to get a little creative. You might not be able to lean on Amazon
Yeah.
as an icebreaker. But I wanted to give you an example in the simplest terms possible so you can really start to like take that really simple hook of, I can clearly see the icebreaker here. I can
Yep.
clearly see how they're talking about their story, their experience, and I can clearly see how they're stating, I know what I'm talking about here.
Yep.
And take that and practice doing that with your own hook.
Yep.
And so go through and audit your hooks, your captions with those three things. And over time, you're going to notice, here's a post that did really good. And then what I want you to do from there, the next step that I have for you is always review. We believe in
Yes.
having something called a
So good.
data date once a month. And you're going to go through and look at what's worked. Don't be afraid to repeat it. Once you
Right.
find what relates to people and what they latch onto, lean into that and do more
Yeah.
of that, because you found the thing. You found your icebreaker at that point. So keep leaning into it. And then over time, you can experiment with more icebreakers, with more ways to connect with people. But like, at first, you're just kind of throwing, I think I heard somebody use the phrase today, throwing spaghetti at the wall.
Yeah.
So you're
Seeing
just
what sticks.
throwing spaghetti at the wall. Guess what? That's what all of us are doing. The
Exactly.
professionals, that's what the professionals are doing. So you
Right.
do not need a marketing degree. You do not need a copywriting degree to go and make really good hooks, captions that
Yeah.
are going to relate to people. And Grace is going to talk a little bit about this with email subjects too. Email subjects are a big one. That is
They
what is
are.
going to make people decide whether to open your email or
Yeah.
not. And there's a
Well,
lot of other emails to choose from in our inboxes these days. So Grace is going
yeah.
to talk us a little bit through that.
Well, there's certainly a lot of other emails in my inbox. You keep yours pretty clean, but
Yeah, I'm okay, real quick, everyone tell us what kind of person are you? Because
right.
Grace is like have 1,000 tabs
Oh, yeah.
open, organized chaos. You could find where anything you need is,
Yeah,
but it's you're gonna have like a million of it,
for
a
sure.
million emails. I'm the person that sees like a notification. There's 4 notifications in my text messages right now, and the urge to
Stressing
clear
you out.
them is like unreal. Bothers me so much. So, anyways, yeah, let us know what kind of
Yeah,
person you are. But yes, Grace, go
yeah.
ahead.
I'm type A in a lot of other ways, but that's not one of them. An email subject line, guys, is like the headline of a newspaper, right? You have to communicate and hook your people in very few words. And I would argue even fewer words than an Instagram hook most of the
Mhm.
time because it's going to get cut off and they're going to have to like want to open it to see the rest, right? So it's important which words you choose. But a lot of these same ideas apply, right? So the I, me, we first person perspective is more likely going to hook somebody than shop my new arrivals, please. Like the ones that have gotten me, I wrote down a couple examples because there's been a few that have really gotten me lately. Like even though I know that they're trying to hook me to open it, I still open it. Subjects like I screwed up or
Yes.
I can't believe what I heard or no one told me. Okay. These are things, yes, you might call them clickbait, right? But you're going to expand upon that idea. Like as soon as they open it in that first
Mhm.
paragraph, you're going to give them more context, right? So speaking from first person though, it just feels more personal. Okay. They want to know what whatever, what you're struggling with, what you screwed up with, what you heard this week out in
Mhm.
public. So I would start there. Another great thing to do is combine that with calling them out by name, right? So using
Mhm.
a merge tag to call out their first name. If you combine this, and you can do that in very few words and make it very enticing. And icebreaker words, I feel like also apply. You want to have that kind of common ground with your community. You want to use buzzwords that you know that they really respond well to. Like we work with a boutique brand that does like stationery and like home goods kind of a thing. And words like small batch or artisan made or eclectic treasures, like things like that tend to
Mhm.
get people clicking because you've already kind of established that that's your community, right? And that's what people are looking for. So don't be afraid to use those. But then as for the kind of like hammering in your expertise, I would say that comes more from like
Mhm.
the first paragraph of the email once you open it, right? Like you're hooking them, then they're going to
Agreed.
click it and then they're going to read more, kind of like an Instagram post with the caption, right? Like you're giving more context, you're building on that idea once they actually
Mhm.
open it and are engaging with it.
Agreed. And I think a couple thoughts here. One about clickbait. Clickbait's only clickbait if you don't deliver on what you
I
say you're going
agree.
to deliver
Yes.
on. So,
Yes.
like what you said is you're going to be expanding more. Like if you did that and then they're opening up the email and it's like, shop my new arrivals,
Exactly.
that's clickbait. If you open up
I
your email and
agree.
you're like, let me tell you a story of what happened this week.
Yeah.
And again, going back to the principles we're talking about, but you're delivering on what you said. This
Yeah.
same on Instagram. If you are, that's not clickbait because then you are being genuine to the hook that you are giving. Clickbait is when you're not being genuine and
I
you're just
agree.
doing it to get people in and then you're like, haha, just kidding. I got you in here, and
Right. Well,
all
it
of
gets a
that. But
bad reputation, I feel like, especially like, I don't know, I feel like YouTube ruined that for everybody because now you'll have a clickbait headline with like in parentheses, not clickbait, but then it always is.
the other thing I was going to say about common ground, and I think this goes for hooks, this goes for email subject lines that I thought of when you were saying about, I can't believe this happened the other day, or like, I screwed up the other day.
Yeah,
That can also, in a way, be a common ground
it's
thing,
true.
be a recognition thing. Because guess what? I've screwed up something this week too. So I
Yep,
want to know what you screwed up because I want it to make me feel better about what I screwed up about.
exactly.
And so it's the same really with hooks as well. Like these in common things, these icebreakers, they can be a word that is, a single word that is like a store, a trope, a celebrity, a trend going around. They can be something like that, but they can also be a phrase that somebody can relate to and connect to. And so you can also look at it that way. So that is how you can create a viral worthy hook or caption or, an email subject line that is
Yeah.
going to get people to open it. Take these little bitty bits of psychology, and just create yourself a little checklist to ask yourself this every time. And it may take a little practice, but over time, you're going to find that you're able to connect with people more through your words. And people are probably maybe engaging and connecting a lot more with your content through it. So we hope this is
Absolutely.
helpful. Make sure to subscribe and let us know what you'd like to hear next. We do little chats every single week where
We
we
will.
take you through all of the meaningful marketing things and give you tips and easy things that you can just take and run with and use for your small business. So tune in every week and let us know what you would like to hear next. And we will talk to you soon.